Welcome, everybody. My name is Jim Davis. Just a little background on me. I have a GC license out of Florida. I've been doing this software thing, Sage 100, Sage 300, Intacct, Acumatica. Been around Procore, Red Team, Prolog, Expedition. I've pretty much touched my hands on most of the softwares out there that we use. So I should be able to answer any questions at the end with you guys if you need me to. Today, we are going to be walking through Intacct, but we're going to hit a couple of slides real quick. I promise not to spend a lot of time in here. Just starting off, a little bit about our company. We have over 40 years of experience in this marketplace. That's really important, right? You don't want to go out looking at software, doing things with people that don't understand what you do. So we've been doing this for 40 years with construction and real estate companies. Over 250 employees, 7,000 customers. That's not users, that's customers. We are in the top 20 VARs in North America, and we won a 2025 Top Workplaces Award. A little bit more software that we're representing around Sage, the Sage 100, Sage 300, Sage Intacct, also Sage Estimating. And then we also represent a number of independent software vendors, ISV applications that work with Intacct. So what is Sage Intacct? It is a true cloud financial management solution with real-time availability. And that's important also to understand. This is not a product that was ever on a server. It has always been web-based. It wasn't migrated. We didn't just put a front end on it. From the first line of code, Sage Intacct was web-based. In fact, Intacct stands for Internet Accounting. In this demonstration today, it's going to be pretty high level, but we'll talk about a little bit about the ease of use, how to move around in the software. We'll talk about the dashboards that are available in here. We'll go through some of the job costing features, and we'll end up in our financial area talking about financial reporting, things like that. So why Sage Intacct? Why would you want to come here? Well, Sage has over 50,000 construction and real estate companies using their software. Now, those aren't all Intacct clients. They're 300, 150, and Intacct. But Sage knows construction. It's what we specialize in. One of the things we're going to talk a little bit about today is dimensions. This may be a new idea to some of you on the phone. Dimensions are the way that we actually catalog and store every single transaction in the system. It can be everything from companies and locations to divisions, the projects, the vendors, cost codes even. And when we tag those dimensions on a record, it will flow with that record throughout the system, even into the general ledger, which means that when we do general ledger reporting, we can break down different GL accounts by different dimensions. So if you've ever wanted to have a GL account where maybe your cost of goods sold accounts were broken down by your project, you can do that. And Sage does it automatically. So what do I mean by tagging? So if you're entering something like an AP invoice, you can see where you'd enter a vendor. You'd enter your GL account number, but you'd also enter the entity maybe it was for, the location it was for, the department it was for. That's what we mean by tagging. And that follows that transaction. So in an AP transaction, it's going over to AP in another GL account, but we could go into AP, and instead of it just saying accounts payable, we could say, hey, why don't you break down accounts payable by vendor? Because that vendor went over to AP. That entity went over to AP. That division went over to AP. So we're going to get really, really nice financial reporting for you all. Just some of the softwares that Sage integrates with. And when I talk about integrations, I'm not talking about imports and exports. We're talking about true integrations without third-party people in the middle of it. Sage Intacct is Open API, which is just a communication format, but these types of products can talk directly to us and pull information directly out of Intacct. So there's no longer this third-party integrator that can break and things like that. They are talking real time. I do get questions about things like security and backups and things like that. So Sage does have an uptime commitment of 99.8% of the time. Somebody asked me, what's that point to? Well, for instance, we're going to get a brand new update on Saturday. Well, that's the point too. For the most part, it's because they're doing an update. It happens in the middle of the night when nobody's really working. So it shouldn't affect anybody at all. Sage is SOC 1 and SOC 2 compliant. We have redundancy in our backups, off-site, on-site, and we do all those different things. And we practice in case we have some type of a security breach where somebody gets into the data, we can go back 96 hours up to the minute and have your data back. We also have this feature set called extra capacity. So typically, let's just say we have capacity on our server for you working at this level. Well, when we see something slowing down in real time, we can increase your capacity because we have it sitting there. We always make sure it's available so that you don't really ever slow down. Now, just a quick mention here, and we'll get into the demo. The next live demo will be later this month on the 27th, and it's going to be on Sage Construction Management. Sage Construction Management is the project manager piece, the operations piece for this software. So things like RFIs, daily logs, those types of things in the software. So with that, we'll go ahead and jump into the demonstration here. And share my screen. Share. And somebody on my team, if you can just let me know when that is sharing.
We can see it.
Great, thank you. All righty, so today, starting off in Sage Intacct, as you can see, I am in a web browser. It does work with all the web browsers, you know, Safari, Firefox, Microsoft Edge is what I'm in right now, Google Chrome. So there is no specific one you have to use. Whatever you like is fine. As we log in, you're going to be immediately greeted with information. So in this case, I have a dashboard up, but it could be anything. It could be an entry screen. It could be a dashboard. It could just be a report sitting there. It's whatever's going to make you more productive in your day-to-day performance. Now, we're going to talk a little bit about these in a second. We're going to walk through some ease of use, but one of the things I didn't have on that agenda, but I just want to point out. So I mentioned that we have a release coming out this week. Some of you on some of the legacy products around Sage and things have a different idea about what that could mean. And what I want to say there is that there are 4 major releases every single year on this product. And you do not have to do anything. You do not have to get IT involved. You do not have to request anything. You don't have to download anything, reboot computers. But the other nice thing is about 2 weeks before the release comes out, you can come in and you can look over the release. Now, this is kind of a default homepage where I can launch into different companies, things like that, go into different help menus. But right here, you can see my release notes. They do a really good job with this. You can watch videos and you can see everything that's happening. You can go in and say, what are they doing around the construction application? Well, here you go. So we're always working on this program. You're never going to hear legacy around Sage Intacct. The other thing I like to point out here is we don't fall behind in technology. Notice over here, Sage Copilot, AI-powered automation. And that's not, I can go back here and you're going to see Copilot, AI-powered. We've been working on this for a while. We are going to stay up to date with those types of technology. Up here at the top, you can see our release calendar. So on August 8th, we're having a release. It's not sometime around August 8th. It will happen. So you're really getting a lot out of this system with these releases and not having to have anybody involved in them. And for those of you that may be planning to integrate a product like maybe a Procore or something like that, that's also nice because every single user of Sage Intacct is on the same exact release. That means that those products only have to focus on one release at any given time and make sure that it works with that release. It makes it a much more stable integration. So let's talk a little bit about walking through this system. So I'm going to start up here. Right now I'm at something called a top level, which is this automated consolidated level. If you have multiple companies, top level can let me see all the companies that I have access to. It allows me to work across all those companies, do intercompany accounting, do tos, do froms. Below that, we have our entities. But even below that, if we come down here and I go into my company here, you can see different types of dimensions, maybe divisions, departments, locations, employees. There's lots of different dimensions inside this system that are all located below those levels. Over here to the right, you'll see my name. Yes, my name today is Emma Penny. But one of the ways we make this software easier to use, and as you can see, it has that new UI, that new look and feel, but ease of use is subjective. So we can actually allow an end user to get into their preferences in the system. Here you can update things like your password, stuff like that. But if I scroll down a little bit further, I can start changing the way the software presents itself. What's the start page? What color schemes do I want to use within the software? What order do I want my menu to be in? How many records show up on different pages for drop downs and lists? How do I want a decimal point to work? Do I want type ahead suggestions? Do I want to use the enter key instead of the tab key to move between fields? Lots of different things we can select here. And if I went in here and changed things and hit save, it is only for me. So I can actually have a different way of looking at the software that makes sense to me and makes it easier for me personally to use. When I go past that to right here, this is a collaboration feature. So every record in the system has the ability to be collaborated on. This is internal collaboration, you and the other users in your office using Intacct, but we'll track that entire conversation. It'll send out emails to each other, all that good stuff. It's built into the system. Next to that, just to point out, you can see Copilot's already built into the help, things like that. So you can ask crazy questions. It'll figure it out and give you lots of solutions. When I come back over here, we have our applications and search functionality. It's important to understand that all of these things are controlled by security. We have a real easy security setup. It's roles-based security. And we can define at the user level which entities they can get into, things like that. But when I come over here, I will only see applications I've been given access to. And inside the application, I will only see the tasks that I've been given access to. You can see gold stars on my screen here. Those are my favorites. I can hover over anything and make it a favorite. It adds it to this menu here, which I just call my quick hit list of things I do all the time, making it even easier for me to navigate through the system. But we do have some users that like more of a visual workflow. Great, you could even have that icon-driven workflow. Sage really took ease of use into consideration when building out this product. Over here, we have a search functionality. Now, this search is great. It is a global search. What I mean by that is it can search across all my companies at once. It can search all across my transactions, no matter which applications I'm in. I can search by names, strings of text, IDs, or even dollar figures. So when we come in here, I could come in, maybe I'm talking to somebody about an invoice they sent me that was $3,000. I can come and say, find me all the AP invoices. So right now it is searching across all those companies, and it's going to find everything that's $3,000. Now, if you're looking closely, you'll see there's one that says 30,000. If you look right here, I didn't put a period after this. So it does have the capability to find partials. There is 3,000 inside of 30, right? So we are going to find everything in this system. When we find the thing we are looking for, we can view, edit, whatever we got to do. But this is not a drill down into another inquiry to find out more information. It's going to take me directly into that source application and into that source document. And from here, I can have a conversation with anybody I want. So if you look right here, I can have attachments. These are true attachments. If you attach something in this system, which you can do on every record and every transaction, it stays with it. It is a copy of that document. It stores it in the system. So it's backed up in everything. and you can view it right here. I'm zoomed in a little bit, so I'm just going to close that document just so we can see some more. On here, I can see everything there is to know about that invoice. I can see that it's been paid, when it was paid, what check paid it. Down below, I can see how we charged it. I can even go in here and put in something like at Emma. So it's going to find all the different records in the system and allow us to send it to whoever we want. Please look. When I hit share, it's going to store that on this record. So it's saving it right now. You can see it right here. I can attach files, links, all sorts of stuff. And Emma's getting an email as we speak with a link back here. Up at the top, you can see my posting details. How did this post to the GL? Are there any joint payees involved? What's the history? Who entered it? Who last modified it? I have everything here. Not only that, when we're in Intacct, if it's not in black and white, and it's not just a shading of some sort, there's more information. Typically it's green or blue, but hey, this guy's calling me. We paid him 2 years. What's going on? Well, I can click right here, and I've never left the invoice, and I can see more information. You know, like what bank account did we pay it out of? Things like that. Wait, another color. Let's go deeper. Oh, it's still in transit. It never cleared my bank. Well, let's go ahead and void it from right here then and reprint it. I don't have to go in and out of the system. And when I click here, you can see it opens up the screen for me to void. This is real time. I'm showing it to you in real time. And I'm running, you know, a WebEx. It's going across the internet. I'm using the internet to run the software. So you can see the software itself has a nice speed to it. We'll come back out here. And let's go back into those dashboards real quick. So you are going to get dashboards with the system, but they are easy to set up. Let's go in here and just look at a dashboard. We'll open up this project performance. A dashboard is nothing more than a central location to view data. And it can be from anywhere. I don't have to have just a project dashboard. There could be a financial statement sitting on this dashboard if I wanted to, along with projects. So you can pull different things from everywhere. And Intacct uses reports instead of inquiries. What does that mean to the end user? It means I can have a financial statement on my dashboard. If you're using inquiries, you can't create a financial statement in an inquiry. So it gives us some really nice capabilities with these things. Up across the top, you can see I have dates, locations, all projects. These are just dimensional sorts and filters inside the system. Right up here, you can see my date. Now, for those of you on some of the systems out there, you know dates can be a pain, especially on these legacy softwares. You know, maybe you can only go back 2 years or whatever it may be. Intacct is date sensitive. And when I say date sensitive, I say that specifically to show that it's not just period, it's a date. So I can go in here and I can say, show me this as of March the 15th, 2023. I hit apply, and this whole screen is going to change and be as of that date, that point in time. Everything on there is now as of that. I could go in and say, well, what was it of that date? Remember, I'm at the top level, so this is all my companies combined or all my locations. I can come in here and say, hey, you know what? Just show me this particular location as of that date. Well, now it's that date and that location. Well, how about that date, that location, and only projects of this type? And just like that, that's that information. I can do this stuff because everything in the system is already stored that way. It's really easy for me to filter out the information I want. I always have the ability to go back, you know, say all projects, all locations. Maybe I'll come back here and just throw this date back out here somewhere, hit apply, and everything's going to go back the other way. Now, I do want to point out something. If I'm in one of the companies instead of working from the top level, let me just open this company. It'll open up this report in that company. Notice it's another tab. I never left this company. It's still open. So I can have multiple tabs open, working on different things in the system, pull them to different screens, whatever it is I want to do. If I'm inside the company, which you can say somebody only has access to this company, I only see the information for that company. So there are catches in the system to make sure people are only seeing what they want to see or what they need to see. Now on this screen, I mentioned, let's look at this report. Here's a job report showing me how much I'm making on this job, color coding on it and everything else. But notice, different colors, guys. Well, I'm looking at this sugar shop and I go, wow, we shouldn't have that much money in there yet. We just started this job. When I click on that, I drill down into the actual locations. I'm still here and here at the same time. I can look through this, see everything that's happening. Sorry, I didn't mean to click off of that. I can see everything that's happening on that record. I can scroll down. I can get to all the transactions. Maybe I'm coming through here and I get down into this area, right? And we're looking at this and saying, well, what's going on here, right? That they're not even on this job. What is that? So I just went from the total cost of a job to the actual invoice that made that up in 2 clicks. From here, I'll just make that big. I can come up here and edit it. And if I need to, I can go in and change the job. You're going to be more productive in this system just because of the way the system is. Not because you're working harder, just because it's going to make you more productive. And I can do that through anything, guys. Up here, watch this. Hover over it, different color. Great, drill into it. There we are. There's our project revenue. Let's find out what that is. And guess what I see again? All the transactions. So this is great information here. I can have reports. I can have graphs, charts. Maybe you have an AP person or something like that. Great, let's go in here and see something like that. We'll go over here. Here's an AP manager's dashboard. From here, they have the ability to click right here and go into enter bills. They don't have to go up here and over here. We can put tasks like that on there. We can put links on there. Whatever you'd like to do. And you hear me saying we a lot in this, and I just caught myself saying it. So I'm going to show you something. I'm going to go right here to dashboards, right? I'm going to hit this little plus key. And right here, we're going to create one. We'll just call this webinar because that's what we're doing today, webinar. We'll make it 3 columns wide, and let's make it a color of like blue. Ooh, purple. Nobody can make anything purple. There we go. And we'll just make this a default one. Now, remember those filters across the top? What do I want? I want to use as of date. We want to be able to do our departments and our locations. That's good enough. Maybe even projects. Save. That dashboard just got created. Now, I'm going to go into view components. Here it is. There's the dashboard right now. Now, this could be a dashboard with already a bunch of stuff on it, like one of the ones you get, or here's a brand new one right there in front of you. Plus, what do I want to add to this dashboard? Is it something general like applications? Great, let's put our applications on there. That's how hard that was. Plus, what else do we want to put on this thing? Maybe a chart or a graph? Why not? We'll put a chart on here. Is it a financial chart or one of the other charts we got set up in the system? Which one do you want? Well, let's go down here. There's one I know has stuff on it. This project margins by customer. I don't like lines, so we'll do a donut. I can't see, so we'll make that large, and we'll make this a little bit bigger too. We'll say 300. Save. Now I have that chart in here. Let's go out and maybe get a report. Okay, so what else do I want? Performance cards. You saw the KPI cards, a record, a report, a smart link. I could have a link here that takes you into another product. But let's go ahead and do this. Let's do a report. Once again, do I want a financial report or one of the other reports? Let's go out here and we'll do the same kind of thing here. We'll do maybe a profit and loss detail vendor. I want it to be automatic height. It's live. I want to allow filtering, which means I want it to allow using these things. And we'll start it off collapsed. Save. Now, I know that you guys are all looking at this going, I could do that. You're right, you can. Now, what if I want this in a different column? Well, I click it and I put it in a different column. Which one you want it in, right? That's how you do it. It's now in that column. I want this one over here in this column. Great. I want this to go across the entire top because it's a, if I look at this, it's collapsed, right? You can see there's more to the right and stuff. Well, if I just drag it up to the top, It'll go all the way across. There's the report. This is a very easy system to use. Alrighty, so we've seen that. We've seen that first part of the demonstration. Let's talk about what we can do in jobs. So I'm going to go ahead, just close that screen. We're going to come over here, and I'm going to go down into projects. Now, in my projects, I'm going to point out a couple of things that you all might not be used to. First of all, standard cost codes. When we talk about cost code lists, yeah, we can define the ID, sections, stuff like that, but it really doesn't matter to the system. It's alphanumeric, and it doesn't care. It has to have a code. Just because it has to have a code, has to have a way to store it, but it doesn't care. What do I mean by that? This is a parent-child relationship, meaning you see the 00 like that in the systems we may be using today. That makes sense that this 00 is rolling up to that. Well, what about this one I called Billy Bob? How does it know to roll to that? Well, it's because when we set up the cost codes, we literally tell it where it rolls up to. So you're going to have a lot of flexibility with those cost codes. Now, if you're using a third-party program like a Procore, we actually have to fall into line with them because they don't have as much flexibility. But obviously, we can do that also. Now, this same type of functionality, this same type of look and feel is also available on the project itself. So we can have parent-child relationships to projects. So maybe you're doing some type of development. Maybe you're doing something that has a couple buildings to it, or you want to track floors separately, or whatever it may be. We can actually have parent-child, which means I can charge all my costs to this one, this one, this one. I could bill at this level, or maybe I bill them all together at this level. I can do all that inside the system, but this is its own job. It just has a parent. So we have these kind of capabilities. And within the software, you're going to see a lot of detail on these different records. So as I go through and I look at this different information, I see, what kind of job it is, how big it is, if it's in progress, when did it start, is there a parent project, do we want to invoice it with the parent or by itself, do we want to include it when we're doing our WIF schedules? All of these fields, by the way, are custom fields, just as easy as doing anything else in the system. But you don't have like a custom field tab. You can put them anywhere you want in the system, and they're immediately reportable. You can see I'm defining which location, department, division this is for. I can see my project manager information, scope information, whatever it may be. I can see how much we spent in labor and material. I can see our estimates. And yes, I said estimates because Sage Intacct can use multiple estimates on the same project. The primary estimate is the one we use in most of the reporting that communicates with third parties like a Procore, all that good stuff. And yeah, it's set up the same way you're used to. What's the cost code? What's the cost type and how much? Everybody's done that that's been around construction software before. So it's real easy to do that. But also on this page, I can see all my commitments. So what all am I committed to? I see every one of them with a high-level overview of them. But remember what I said, different color. Click on it. You need more information? Let's go into the subcontract itself. See all the information about the subcontract. Make this big for you so you can see it. I have all the information about the subcontract, how we're built, or our line items of the subcontract, and how much we billed to date. Come back up to the top. I can see all this information. I could go in and see if there were any change orders. I can see the history. What's on the history? Who created it? Who modified it? But also all the invoices that have come in against it. You want to go to the invoice? Let's go to the invoice. It's in a different color. Remember, I'm still on the job screen. I can come up here and I can see if there's commitment-specific compliance, because we have compliance on the commitment and on the vendor record. Are there any secondary vendors involved in this? So who's filed notice to owners, things like that. It's all there for me. And I was on the job screen. I can see all the change orders we've sent out. I can see all the contract that we've sent out. And yeah, you could have multiple contracts on a job. I can see all the invoices that have been sent out to the owner or whoever it may be. It's all here for me. Getting lots of information as we go. So everything's available in this system. I'm going to come back up here. I'm just going to click on projects again because I want to point out a couple of other things. Inside the system, we can do change requests and convert them to change orders, many to one to one, however you want to go. We can set up our contract in the system. But this is a big one right here, guys. We can do a WIP schedule inside of Intacct. I can come in here, open up my WIP schedule. Let's just open up this one. This could be done monthly, yearly, quarterly. It doesn't matter, whatever you want to do. Now, when it says errors, it just means I haven't completed something yet. But as I look at this, and we'll go into edit mode here. Oop, yeah, there we go. You're going to see different information. This section right here, from here to here, is the stuff that's in the system. What's my total budget? What's my total contract? What's the job to date cost, the job to date billings, and what percentage are we done based on budget versus actual? But then, how about the PM forecast? Where does the PM think the forecast is going to end up for the contract value? What is its cost to complete or cost at completion? But even still, you know, being controllers, CFOs, we don't trust the project manager. So here's our section. And our section is going to drive the over-under billing, which will automatically post to the GL and auto reverse out of the GL. Now, if you're going to use the project manager's numbers, it's easy. You come right over here, click the job and say update CFO values with the PM values, or update the project values with, or, you know, to the PM values. You can do things like that. Procore also knows about these fields. Sage CM knows about these fields. Procore doesn't have the interface to this section yet, but they're writing something. CM already does it. Or you could actually import it if somebody did it in Excel. So you have all those capabilities. This is a feature I have not seen in any other system that I've used. You notice that when I was doing that, just to point something out to you guys, over here, I'm at a job level, right? So here's my PM forecast for the job. The release that comes out this weekend, the PM can do it at the cost code levels of each job. So full forecasting. Great, let's come back out. You are going to be able to create your bills out of the system, whether they're AIA, T&M based AIA billings, whatever it may be. We can do all of those things out of the system. Come in, just hit generate invoices, come right here and say, hey, I want to do a project contract invoice. I want to put it to the progress billing. Which contract do you want to do? Let's do the sugar shop. Through this date, we hit preview, it takes us to our billing worksheet. The billing worksheet is like either the Excel sheet you're using or maybe some of the programs you're using have this capability. Here's my schedule of values. By the way, the columns are definable, but here's what I've done so far, right? Come in here and say, well, now we're 85% complete. Great, then that's the amount you need to bill. Well, how about I just bill another $2,000 on this line? Great, then you're going to be 107% complete, which obviously we can stop, guys, but you do have the capabilities here. We have the ability to do stored materials. It's all right here for me. If I scroll over further, I can even see retainage information. How much retainage is it going to hold? You know what? We're only going to hold 5% on this one. It had the default 10 because that's what we've been doing, but I can change it on the fly, obviously with permissions and everything else. When you're done, you create invoice. So you create an invoice in the system, then you can print it out. They're two different steps. So one person can do this, another person review it, and actually send it to somebody. So if we come out here, you can see I have my information here. I'm going to go into edit mode just so you can see what this record looks like. When we do this edit mode, here's the record. It shows me what we're billing, you know, all that good stuff. And I can come right up here and say print or email. I could email it out of the system. I'll print it just so you guys can see kind of what this record is looking for. So it's putting all the information off this record into an AIA format. Now, I keep saying AIA, and I want to be clear on record. This is not the AIA 702, 703. That would be illegal. It's a copyrighted document. It's just remarkably similar. So you're going to be able to create these out of the system. Another nice feature. If it was more of a T&M type billing, even if it was a T&M to an AIA document, so we can do that pass-through type stuff. This is what this record looks like. So you have that same kind of information, right? But over here, sorry, this one. Nope, I was on the right one. Am I in the right bill? Let me just double check here real quick. I might have to go to a different billing. I might have grabbed the wrong one. I want to show you a T&M one, and I want to make sure I get to the right one here. So let's just do this one, view. So on this bill, you've got all the same information. I can see how it's going to post history information, who created it, all that good stuff, who's played around with it. When it's paid, I'd be able to see payment details against it, project contract billing detail information, source and attachments. So source and attachments gives me extra information that I can actually have selections and downloads to. But here's what we're billing. That bill, that bill, that bill, these timesheets. There's like 13 pages on this one. What that means to you is that from here, if I'm looking at this going, what the heck is that? Yes, I could drill down into the bill from the bill. You're going to get more analytical, and you're going to have the information you need when you need it. Now, we do have a couple of different types of reporting in this system. We have our interactive custom reports, our custom reports, and financial reports. I want to go here real quick and just talk about something inside the report center. So the report center is going to show us kind of all the default reports in the system. It's pulling them all in from every single location, so you can see all the financial reports we have, all the cash management reports, GL, accounts payable, accounts receivable, project reports, right? But the reason I wanted to come in here is right there, schedule. I can actually create schedule groups, put different reports in it, have them automatically run, and even send out to people if you want to, directly from the system. The custom reports are kind of like just column reports, kind of like Sage 300 type reports, just columns. Interactive custom reports, I want to show you this one because these are cool. If I come in here and I'm looking through the system, and let's just go down here and say, let's do the committed cost report, the committed detail by cost code. I'm going to run this interactively. Let me make sure I get that clicked right. So in this report, first of all, I'm running it across multiple companies, but in this case, I'm going to be running it across one company because I'm running it inside of a company. Now it's going to ask me, do I want to do it for a specific job, anything like that? I'm going to just say, okay. Now, here's the thing about this type of report. It will take a couple extra seconds to run. I'm not talking 20 minutes, I'm talking seconds, right? So it may add 5 or 10 seconds to running it. But when it opens like this, I want to explain why. Remember what I said about colors. So from this report, I could drill into the job, I could drill into the subcontract, I could drill into either one of these invoices. That's step one of why it took longer. However, it's also completely interactive. You know what? This is really cool. It's by job and then the vendor and all those things about that. I wish I had one that showed me all the vendor stuff. Great. Go up here to vendor, grab it, drag it to the front of this report, just like that. Let go of it. Now it's by vendor, then job. So here's everything for this vendor. Here's everything for this vendor. You know what? I want to send this out to somebody, but it really doesn't need this field here. You know, so just come in here and exclude that field. Or maybe you don't want any of these fields. You just want the revised amount and the amount billed. Well, great. Go through and clear them, just like I did. It'll be the way it was when you come back into it. But I could come down here now to the bottom and say, hey, go ahead and export this to a PDF or Excel or something like that. And it's going to export the way I have it. So if you need to give somebody outside the system, you don't want all these extra columns there for you, really. You can do that and have it go out through the system, guys, with all the information. By the way, I'm going to go ahead and what the heck? I'm going to open that file for you that I just created there, just to show you, I can export anything out of the system. Columns look good. Everything looks good to me. And that includes financial reports, things like your trial balance and stuff for my Sage 300 users on the phone that may have tried to export one of those in the past. We're good to go on exporting all the reports inside this system. Couple more things I'm going to show you here. I didn't have this in the agenda either, but I got some minutes here, so I do want to just pull something up for you here. Cash management, just to let everybody know, we can go in and set up our checking accounts. Within the checking accounts, I can go in and define what company it's for, all that good stuff, because we have intercompany accounting. But in check printing, if you want, I can also print a blank check stock through this system without a create a pause, print pause, and create a check, any of those kind of things. The system has that capability. So if you want to go to blank check stock, we'll print the information on there for you. Also, we could do ACH payments out of this system. So it'll actually create the ACH file, send the vendor a notification that you're paying them, and have that file to send to the bank and do ACH payments directly out of the system. We also have the ability to connect to your bank. This will allow us to download cleared transactions automatically from the bank, and it will auto clear the transactions in your system using rules you define, as long as the date matches, the check number matches, and the dollar figure matches, that kind of a rule, right? So we can speed up information in the system. And this is real time. What do I mean by real time? Let me just click on accounts payable, for instance. You don't see post. So when I enter something in the system and I save it, it's in the system. It's gone to job costs. It's gone to GL. It's real time. That means when you're looking at a financial statement or reports in our system, you don't have to say, oh, wait, before we run this report, we better go post everything, make sure we got everything. No, it's a real-time system. So you're going to have everything in this system. Now let's go ahead and jump back over here to reports, and I'm going to go into financial reports. When I do this, let me clear that screen. When I do this, you're really going to understand dimensions a little bit better. So first of all, out of the box, guys, you get all of these. Now people, Sage 300 people that have 3 go, oh, wow, cool. Sage 100 people go, you can have those plus more? Yeah, sure. But guys, there's 2 more pages of them out of the box. But let's see how easy it is to do one in this system. Add. Let's just call this webinar, what's today's date? 8/6? 8/6. So we're going to come in here and we're going to go to our rows. So what GL accounts do we want? So it's allowing me to select by GL account group, right? So account groups, assets, liabilities, or as many as you want, right? I'd want for this one things like my revenue accounts, my cost of goods sold accounts, my expense accounts, all that good stuff. We're in a demo. We're going to cheat a little bit instead of having me do all those. I'm just going to go here and we're going to go net income. Notice it's closest fit. It's throughout the system. That's going to give me all the accounts I want. I'm going to come up here because it is sample data, and we'll go back and we'll roll this back into let's do March of 2023. Here's all my GL accounts. So what does this report look like right now? Here it is. Now, I look at this and go, well, I want the GL account number there, right? And there's something else. Remember here, I'm doing this at the top level. That's a consolidated report across the board. Okay, all of my companies. And yeah, we can also do complete consolidations with eliminations and everything in the system if that's something you choose to do. But this is just a combined financial right now. Well, let's have a lot of fun with this. Let's go to our columns, and we're going to go in here first of all and just say, hey, I really like the account number and name. That was tough, right? But now, normally in every system I've ever been in, we're going to have to create some columns here, right? I have to create one here and say, hey, just use this and put a formula in there so it only grabs transactions from a certain place, all of that good stuff. No, guys, this is a dimensional software. I told you we already stored it that way. So let me get rid of that column. All I have to do is go right here and say, hey, do me a favor. How about expanding this out by those locations? Now it's by company. Hey, do me a favor. How about expanding that out by my different departments? Great, now it's by department. Anybody ever wanted a P&L by project? Great, here you go, by project. It's stored that way. It's already there. All I have to do is tell it I want to see it that way. Here's my profitability by project right here. Maybe I want to do something a little bit different even further. Let's do this one by department, which you already saw. Here it is, just to refresh everybody's memory. But I don't have just an x-axis, guys. I have a y-axis also. So let's go back to our rows. Now, if a dimension was only a filter or a sort, I would have to sort this entire thing by a dimension, right? Hey, sort this by project, sort this by that. But that's not the way a dimension works. A dimension goes everywhere. So I can go into a single GL account area and say, hey, you know what? In this GL account, do me a favor, show me the customers. I could do that for every different revenue account a different way. I can come down here and say, you know, the project costs, do me a favor, show me those by project or even cost code if I wanted to, but let's do project. And then maybe I do want all the expenses just to be by vendor. I can come in here and just so you guys know, it's going to say no vendor on all these because this was imported data and we didn't bring in the vendor dimension, but you'll still get the gist of this. So watch this one. Now this is going to resort that entire report, and every single account in this report is going to be doing something different. Here's my revenue accounts broken down by customer. There's the cost accounts broken down by the job, but also by department. All of these, no vendor. Oh, wait, there's one that has a vendor. City of Beaverton, that department. It's that easy to, here's Pacific Petroleum even. Look at that. Great. So you would have all that information here. But I could have come in here and said, do this entire thing, you know, by project. Now everything's by project. Everything would be broken down by project. If I run this real quick, I'm going to so you can see it. I think it's really cool. Every single account's broken down by project, right? Well, if I can do that, it means something else. It means I could go in here and I could create a report like this one. Now on this one, I said, don't even bother with the GL accounts. We're going to do this by dimension. What does that mean? It means that it's going to say, okay, we're going to use that dimension, take every GL account, add them all together and say, here's the amount for that dimension. Okay, what dimension do you want to use? Well, I want to use the projects. Now, here's what's really neat. We can post everything to the GL, to different journals, everything else throughout the system. That includes things like your project budget, your contract, change orders. Everything can flow all the way into the GL, which means I can do things like this. What are my columns? Well, in this column, I want the original contract by project. Contract revisions, changes, totals. How about my budget estimate? How about, here's gross profit. How hard was that? Hey, I want to sum on columns. What do you need to do? I just need to subtract these two columns. Great. That's how hard that one was. Here's my total billings and my total cost. A lot of people go, well, how are you getting that if you're rolling everything together? Because in this column, I told it, only give me those accounts. In this column, I said, only give me those accounts and total them. Over here, here's conditional highlighting. How does that work? Well, let's look at it. Edit the rule. If it's less than 0, turn it red. If it's greater than, let's say, 10,000, we want to turn it a different color. So we'll use multiple colors. This one will make red, and this one, let's do blue. Set. Let's preview this. Now remember, this is a financial statement. It's a job cost report, guys. And there's the blue I just added. And when I go over here and I drill into the transactions that were those project cost transactions summarized at the project level, look where I'm drilling through. It's the GL. Here's this GL's accounts, all the transactions that were there for that job. If I scroll down further, lots of payroll transactions. Sorry about that. I should have just used the pull down screen. I'm using the scroll bar. Let's do this. More. There they go. So here's cost of goods sold subcontract, right? There's the materials. And then we were drilling down further. This is what I mean by the entire transaction flows all the way through. Here's this transaction right here, right? We've already looked at this one 3 or 4 times. I'm back in the AP invoice that came from AP all the way over into the GL, was able to be sorted by the different dimensions into this report, but it's so easy. This is an easy to use software that's going to give you everything you need. And yeah, I can even send this one out to Excel, and if I do, it will send out these colors and everything else too. Let that open up. It's opening up on the screen. I hope there's nothing in the background. There we go. So with that, guys, I am going to stop, and I'm going to open this up to questions, if there are any. Thank you.